everybody, this is Butt Sanchez, the only YouTuber that made you realize you never had a better time on YouTube. Until now. In the last episode, we just got the Crystal of Fire from the lava dome and killed the, I think it's called the dual-headed Hydra or something of that nature. And today we're going through the Focus Tower for the second to last time that I'll at least be showing in this video, to go to the southeast region of the game, which is the windy area of the game that houses the Wind Crystal. And just like with the other areas, when you go, let's talk the white here first. I'll just say something, go to Windia, blah, blah, blah. Look for the ship, even though it's on like a ledge in the dry lake region of the game. I'm gonna move my Audacity thing over here so I can see my recording while I'm speaking here. Anyway, we're gonna get a little taste. Oh, whoops, I went the wrong way for a second. Let me just go back. I completely bypassed the stairwell over here that leads you to a room in Doom Castle, which is the last dungeon in the game, where the last boss is located, but for some reason we go into here, and we actually fight monsters from Doom Castle, which I will show off here, just because, you know, they're kind of fun. There's a Shadow, Minotaur Zombie, which I think was from the very beginning of the game, and then the Chimera is actually the palette swap version of a boss that we will be fighting in the giant tree. But we're not there yet. So obviously the Chimera is the strongest of all the monsters here, so we're just gonna beat the shit out of them with our axes and stuff. Look at that, before you know it, he's almost already dead. Uh-oh, but poor Benjamin got petrified though, but not to fear, Ruben's here. And with that, we get the Aero Spell, which is the best black magic spell in the game. Not wizard spell, black magic spell in the game. I don't really have anything to say about it besides it's a wind elemental attack that's very effective against all flying monsters, and for whatever reason, most of the monsters in the wind area of the game are weak to the wind element. I don't know why. This mummy, for example, that gives the business to Ruben here, is actually weak to the Aero Spell, but I don't remember if I use it on the mummy or not. I know I actually died to this mummy. Like, you'll watch me. I kept this in here just because it's kind of funny. I tried casting Exit on him for some reason, but then he, you know, does petrify right at the beginning of the battle and kills me. So just really bad luck there. For some reason, I decided to use the Exit spell instead, because I just kind of wanted to show it, but the guy kept putting me to sleep or whatever. But anyway, that's what the Exit spell looks like when you use it in battle. If you notice, I did not get any experience or gold here. I'm not putting any inputs in here, as you can see from the input display. This is the game's scripting here. So Ruben gets knocked off the bridge here. He'll catch up to us later, which means we'll get a new party member right off the bat, which is with Tristan. And of course, Tristan still doesn't know our name, and still refers to us as Kid the entire time, but whatever. And like that, Tristan joins. Now, I think I probably could have just used the Exit spell to exit the bridge, but instead I just kind of showed up. It's not really that much of an area or level. I use it very loosely here just because you fight one monster there. But anyway, we go to the Alive Forest, which is, I mentioned in my very first video, in the Level Forest. The Alive Forest and the Level Forest are actually on the same map, but the Level Forest from the very beginning of the game, the very beginning of my series, in the northeastern section of the map. You can't see it from here because there's too many giant trees in the way blocking you, but it's on the same map. The same weasel, weak monsters are there and all that stuff. But the Alive Forest, or whatever this is called, has all these stronger monsters here, as you can plainly see. It also contains the Giant's Axe, which I'll be trying to find, which is why I'm chopping down a lot of trees here. So because, if you remember also, when I started the game, the Alive Forest, or Level Forest, or whatever it's called, they're confusing names here. I'll just say the first forest area, all the trees were dying and were brown kind of colored, kind of similar to the red forest from the Chernobyl disaster from the 80s. If you know what that is, look that up. I'll put a link in the description of the red forest for you to figure that out. Anyway, since they both share the same map, this level actually, if you never actually killed if you never actually got the Crystal of Earth, then all the trees and everything here would be in this decaying state. So just a little fun fact for you. But anyway, here's the Giant's Axe. I'll just show this off as tradition here. So the Giant's Axe has a base power of 105. As you can see, it's just as strong as the Mega Grenades, but It has the unfortunate side effect of you can miss with an axe compared to the Mega Grenades. And Mega Grenades, I remind you, never miss with them. Oh, if you're wondering why the game is like sped up 200%, it's because when I was recording, my fucking cat decided to jump on the table again and walk across the keyboard. And I don't know what he did. He must have pressed the plus key on the numpad region of my keyboard, and that must have increased my emulation speed to 200%, which is why I had a short burst of speed there. But the more you know, I guess. Anyway, I guess that's just the Giant's Axe for you there. It is an axe type attack or weapon, so that means you can use it on crabs, worms, trees, and can't recall what the other thing is. Crabs, worms, trees, and probably toads or something like that. And it does 50% more damage. For some reason, in the next dungeon, which is the giant tree, which looks a lot like the Great Deku tree, as you just saw there. There's a lot of monsters in there that are weak to the axe weapon in there, so it behoove you to use it. And good thing we just got the shiny new Giant's Axe. Annoyingly, there are some monsters that are weak to the Mega Grenades in there, and they also come with an annoying auto-reflect status on them, so you can't use spells on them. But that's okay. We'll get the business here. Anyway, Tristram actually leaves our party right now, so we don't really have him for very long. The next person we'll get back is Kaylee, who's awesome. If you remember when Kaylee joined, she was level 3 and had a crappy woodcutter axe that she gave to Benjamin at the beginning of the game. But when we reacquire her, which will be in just a minute, she'll be level like 31, even though she's bedridden, trying to recover from her poison. Whatever it was. Ailment from the beginning of the game. She also has a Giant's Axe with her, so now you have 2 party members with the same Giant's Axe. But Tristan, before he leaves, gives you probably the most fun weapon in the game, which is the Dragon Claw. The Dragon Claw has a base power of 80. It works like the hook shot from Legend of Zelda, as you saw from Tristan there, so we'll be using that a little bit in some of the dungeons. I wish you could use it a little bit more often, but that's besides the point. I wish you could use the Mega Grenades more often to, you know, blow up rubble, but besides the point. Like the other claws, the Dragon Claw on equip boosts Benjamin's magic +5. And in addition to inflicting poison, paralysis, sleep, and confuse, and blind, the Dragon Claw also can silence targets, which I remind you doesn't do jack shit in this game because it's bugged. But more importantly, it can also petrify some monsters sometimes, which is the stone icon right above the poison icon there. And to be honest, the petrify status ailment's actually more useful than you'd think. I don't know what the chance of it hitting is, but it seems to, when I was using it in Pazuzu's tower, which we'll be getting to in this video, it seemed like if I didn't crit, which for some reason the Dragon Claw seemed to crit more often, even though it's frame based, if it's not really based on a percentage. If I wasn't critting, I would petrify the monsters, and I just kind of edited out all the stuff there, so you didn't have to see me kind of like traversing as much. But as you can see, here's what the giant tree looks like. It looks suspiciously like the Great Deku tree from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I find it quite fitting that we just got a weapon from the Legend of Zelda series. In this case, it's called the Dragon Claw, but it's basically the hook shot. Anyway, the Dragon Claw, it may do the least amount of damage of the main melee weapons, but that petrify comes in pretty good handy. You'll know when you petrify a monster when, if you're playing the game along with me or whatever, if you just see the claws hit and then no damage shows up and they die, that means they're petrified. It seems like most monsters are weak or susceptible to petrify. But as I was saying, most of the monsters in this tree are either, one, like these ghosts here, are actually weak to the Aero Spell. It'll just outright kill them. Or 2, these trees are, as you can imagine, are weak to axes. And luckily we have 2 party members with the Giant's Axe here. So that's a lot of fun. So this is the giant tree. I almost say the Great Deku tree. It's about the same. Probably use them interchangeably, to be honest, but this is the giant tree. Some like little platforming here. I would say this is more of a puzzle area than like a dungeon, even though there's a lot of monsters in this dungeon. As you can see, and the reason I say it's a puzzle is just because you have to kind of traverse using the Dragon Claw to get over all the different like cliffs and all that stuff. You also get to use your sword in here to open up the faces, I guess, in the tree. But that's whatever. So over here we We're going to go get the Meteor Spell. We probably could have gotten this later after we killed the boss. Once you kill the boss and the monsters, it'll die. And it's much easier to get the Meteor Spell. Because there's all these like little like mushrooms here that you can like whack down with your axe to get through. But the most annoying thing about this room isn't really the mushrooms. It's actually these frogs. The frogs, from what I could tell, I think they were weak to the axe attack or whatever it was. But they were not weak to any spells, so it didn't really seem to matter like what spells I was casting. Because Kaylee's not really magic focused compared to Phoebe. So I was kind of forced to just use like my giant's axe on them, and then Kaylee would use them, and they just took forever to kill. They're just not, like, they're not easy monsters. They're not really the most dangerous, but they're just not easy to quickly dispatch, if you know what I'm saying. So consider yourself lucky that you're watching this. You don't have to watch me slog through fighting all these stupid frogs over and over again. Seems like when I was, yeah, it looks like I'm casting spells with Benjamin there or whatever it is, but I don't know. These frogs were just really annoying. And every time you hit them with a melee attack, they countered with Poison Touch, which is why Kaylee often got poisoned. Anyway, here's the Meteor Spell, the third wizard spell in the game. And despite the fact that meteors are falling from the sky, it actually deals earth-based damage to all monsters. Go figure. I'm not sure why they did that, but I guess they just didn't want to program in another element. When I was a kid, I'll show off the Meteor Spell and probably when I'm fighting Dallahan on Mount Gale, which is later in this video, but the Meteor Spell, like the objects that are falling, I always thought looked like leaves more than they look like meteors. But whatever. I actually got lost for about 10 minutes, like walking around until I found out, oh, you can actually like hook shot down to that little stump there. Yeah, the dungeons in this game, they get like a little bit more complicated than the earlier dungeons where they're quite linear, so this level, and especially Pazuzu's Tower, I ended up just kind of like running around for like 10 minutes or something like that. And Pazuzu's Tower, because of the nature of that level, I'll get into that when I get to fucking Pazuzu's Tower. I ran around for about 20 minutes before I finally found my way up to floor 5 to fight Pazuzu himself. But that's whatever. Can't remember if I went the wrong way over here. I think I did, but I just kept it in here just because it didn't really slow down the footage that much. It's just kind of like showing the circle of, oh, maybe I didn't. I can't remember. But anyway, use your sword here to open up those mouths. That's just how it goes, I guess. For some reason, I thought I cut out this stuff, but maybe I didn't. Can't remember what was over here. I guess we'll just find out together, but it looks like nothing all that important over here. Anyway, these worms are quite easy to kill because they're weak to the axe, so since we have 2 axe players, it just, you know, it doesn't take much effort to kill them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of worms in this area. Oh, actually, okay, now I do remember this is the correct way. For some reason, like I said, I edited out a lot of this stuff before I started doing the recording of my audio, so I can't remember what happened and what didn't happen, so I guess the more you know, I guess. But this is the correct way from what I understand. And that's cool. Do a little fighting more worms here and then doing a little cat claw action by scaling these walls. And then I go down the wrong way and then I have to go up here and fight these worms anyway. It almost seems like the correct way to go is to follow the trail of monsters. Even though this game claims it's not. It has no random encounters, but they force you to do all these stupid encounters. Anyway, this is like the last kind of area of the giant tree. I almost said a Great Deku tree here. For the most part, we have to kind of scale up the center of the tree. I guess going up like the core of the tree up to the top of the tree. But to do that, we have to first go down a floor and then open up this thing over here. And before you know it, we're over here again. Fighting more worms, of course. And another frog, because we can't get enough of our frogs in our life. But that's okay. Anyway, do some more scaling over here. I don't really know why they kind of did this. It's just, I guess, to kind of make it like a one-way kind of thing. Like, once you go right, you can't really go back unless you want to kind of repeat yourself. But I'd argue, what's the point? Because if you fall down and have to kind of scale your way back up, it's kind of pointless. But what do I know? Okay, these black things are actually oozes. They're like the third palette swap or second palette swap of the green slimes from the very beginning of the game. They're very annoying. Like the other slime monsters, I believe they're actually weak to bombs. But these oozes come natively with the auto reflect ability, and there's almost always like starting at this point, like one slime with like 2 other monsters that are weak to arrow or something of that nature. So you can't just spam spells on all the monsters because the slime or the oozes will reflect the spell right back at you and probably kill you. So this is why you see me equipped with the mega grenades, because they're the only weapon that are like somewhat effective against them. Problem is, if there's too many monsters, you still have split damage to factor in, and the oozes are not fun. I don't show off any of the fights with the oozes, but they're just not very fun. There's a more annoying monster in Pazuzu's tower called the Beholders, which I'll get into those. I actually keep one of those fights in there just to kind of show what the auto reflect ability is like, because it's quite annoying in this game. Because, you know, people play video games for annoyances, not for fun. Am I right, people? Anyway, just keep kind of circling over here. Keep going up in the center, I guess, because that's like the core of the tree is what they're trying to get at with the design at this level. I don't really see the point of getting those brown chests, because they're probably nothing more than heal potions or cure potions or worse, refreshers. And just like that, we're actually at the boss of the Great Deku Tree. Excuse me, the giant tree. And I'll start talking about it once I actually walk in here. I'm actually using some of those cure potions I was poo-pooing a second ago. If you remember, we fought a Chimera in Doom Castle. Well, this is the original version of it, called the Ghidra. I actually died fighting the Ghidra. My first fight, I edited out the I guess the scene or whatever it is of me dying, because they can see him paralyzed. So what they did is they paralyzed poor Kaylee and then just gave Benjamin the business by putting him to sleep or killing him or something of that nature. So kind of an annoying fight. When I was a kid, I found this boss like quite challenging. I don't know how many times. I remember dying to him about like 5 times before I finally got the hang of it. I think for some reason I just refused to use the Aero Spell, because I thought it was a crappy spell because of black magic instead of a wizard spell, because you get the meteor spell, but I don't really know. Anyway, this is the Ghidra. It has 13,000 HP. It is weak to wind and is strong against fire. And a little bit of etymology. The creature's 3-headed nature and its name are both references to King Ghidra, a 3-headed dragon from the Godzilla film series. The Japanese version of this game, the Ghidra, is actually called a Chimera, not to be confused with the Chimera we fought earlier in this video, which explains the fire resistances. And the Chimera is an offspring of Typhon and Echidna, bosses from other Final Fantasy games, and they're probably from Greek or some other mythologies that I'm not aware of. The German version of this game, the Ghidra, is known as El Diablo. And then, funny enough, a palette swap version of I already said this, but of this boss is actually called the Chimera. So a little more you know, I guess. Anyway, if you just start spamming arrow on him and get rid of the skeletons first off, then he's not really that big of a... It's kind of I wouldn't say a pushover, because as you can see, he's still dangerous with his paralysis and his sleeping attacks or whatever. You know what I realized? I forgot to actually like save and quit after getting Tristan, so when Kaylee joined, she probably has Ruben's resistances. If you look in the background here, it says Go On Kid, spelled in trees. Go and then On Kid. It's not Goon Kid. It's Go On Kid with 2 exclamation points. And unlike the Great Deku Tree, the giant tree can actually traverse through the forest and gets us over here. Too much fun if you ask me. And just like that, we're done with the giant tree. We'll never be coming in here again, but that's okay. There's nothing of use in this temple except talking to White here. White doesn't say much besides just more about Captain Mac. He gives you one line statement saying Captain Mac will be your prophecy, even though he said Benjamin is the prophecy of the legend of the, I don't know, knight that comes and saves everyone. But we have to talk to Captain Mac. I wish I was Captain Mac. Anyway, all the battlefields in this area don't offer anything, so there's no point in doing them. This is Windia. As you can name, it's very windy here. The wind is actually not because of crystal wind, but because of something that the boss Dallahan is doing out on top of Mount Gale, which is the next level of the game. And like that, we got our final locket or accessory armor, which is the Cupid Locket. The Cupid Locket offers 6 defense, 6 evasion, plus 5 magic, and protects against silence, blind, and confusion. The most important of those stats being the confusion one, because confusion is a big source of like wiping your party or getting game overs for the most part, even though you don't really get game overs in this game. This is Otto. Not Otto Octavius from Spider-Man, but just a guy named Otto. He's like a genius of the town that can build something called the Rainbow Bridge to get you there, but because of the wind, I guess the wind is so strong, it's strong enough to move the photons that are making the Rainbow Bridge out of alignment, and just, it scatters them all over the place. I just want to show this off, but if you look at the windmills here, you'll notice the chocobos on top of the windmills. In fact, that's probably the only, besides the crystals, the only reference to other Final Fantasy games in this game. From those crystals and the chocobos. Now, we can go in this cave, but there's nothing in here except for some crappy treasure, so I just added that out for you, so you can thank me later. This is Mount Gale. I save here. I wish I restarted here just so Kaylee would have the fix of resistances, but, you know, I just forget to do that sometimes. It doesn't really matter because the bosses here aren't that bad. Anyway, this is Mount Gale, the Mount Gale theme. Excuse me. We'll be hearing this theme in Pazuzu's Tower. I think the music in this game is quite good, except for this stupid song. I hate the song so much. It just makes you feel somber and gloomy the entire time. And when you get to Pazuzu's Tower, I wonder, they probably specifically made the song gloomy because you're doing Pazuzu's Tower after all. Not a fun level at all. I can go on and on about how much I hate the music here, but I think you get the point. There's not really much to say about it besides I hate the music here. But that's how it goes. Some people might say, oh, this is a great song. I beg to differ. Because you've never done Pazuzu's Tower, of course. Once you do Pazuzu's Tower, you'll hate the song. Anyway, this is the same kind of palette or tile, whatever you call it, like same tile set as like the mountain areas from the fire region of the world. Actually, the Hill of Destiny uses the same tile set here, but it's just whatever, you know, you have to reuse your stuff wherever you can. Anyway, we'll just kind of traverse through here. There's actually a helmet we can get here that doesn't really offer anything new besides extra defense. I pick it up just to say that we got it, so we have a full collection of weapons and armor. It's just kind of up over here. We have to go across this broken rope bridge, but that's okay. And then just go north over here and we'll find it eventually. Wish I had more to say, but I just don't at the moment. This is kind of strange how you have to get over here. It's like a one-way thing, and you have to go over here, then you have to go use a hop over, and then Dragonclaw back south. But anyway, this is where the helmet is. This is called the Apollo Helm. It offers 15 defense and 15 evasions, the best helm in the game. It also offers +5 to your attack for some reason, and just like the previous helm, the Nova Helm or whatever it was called, it resists fire. But at this point in the game, monsters seldom cast fire on Benjamin, that it doesn't really matter that much. I just get it mainly because they get a full inventory. Because it's fun to have a full inventory. Anyway, here's the boss of the area. This is kind of a funny boss. This is Dullahan. He has, let's see if I can get here for a second. So fun fact with this boss is that Dullahan is one of only 2 bosses besides Dark King and the Vile 4 that talks. The other one that talked was the Minotaur at the very beginning of the game. So the Dullahan has 14,000 HP. Let's see. In the Irish lore, the Dullahan is a headless knight, but this version is not only a headless knight, but a headless knight riding a headless horse, if you look closely at the sprite. Kind of a funny thing. He has no weaknesses, but he's strong against fire, so I kind of just spam the Meteor spell while I have the chance here, while Kaylee just spams Arrow, because as you can see, Arrow still does like 700 damage, which is pretty high amount right there. And this is what Meteor looks like. I always thought it looked like leaves. I don't know why. They just kind of look like burnt dead leaves or something. I usually just keep Kaylee on auto here just because it's useful for her to just cast heal when necessary, but he's really not that hard. Just spam Meteor a couple of times. Before you know it, his headless horse will put its neck down. Not its head down, but its neck. Because I guess it's like really tired or something. And then eventually Dullahan will come charging at us with his headless helmet. He's carrying his headless helmet. I would say his third sprite in the battle is probably the most extreme change from the other ones. The other ones just like they kind of like looking more and more pathetic, but this one he actually simply loses his horse and he has a completely different sprite. So they could not reuse most of the assets of the original sprite. They usually just change a few things, and then they're... Yeah, see what I mean? It's a completely different sprite. It almost looks like there's going to be like 2 boss fights, but there's not. But anyway, this is the Dullahan without its horse, the headless horse, and whatever. As you can see, Aero only does like 600 damage, so I probably should have just used one of my seeds so I can recast Meteor and do 1700, but it's not that big of a deal. This guy's not that hard. I say not that hard, then he does 343 damage to both Benjamin and Kaylee there, but that's okay. I like how Benjamin does 666 damage. Kaylee just misses. I swear to God, in this game, like, the axes, I don't think they have, like, a low accuracy compared to other weapons, but they just seem like they miss about every 4 attacks. It's just really bizarre. What's also really bizarre is you gotta just leave this dungeon by casting exit and just go back to town. Then you find out the wind's dead, so you go talk to Otto Octavius, and he'll go and restore the Rainbow Bridge so you can go rescue Nora. I don't know why that door there is open in the inn. It's like, this isn't actually the inn right here. It's a... I just edited it out so it looks like I walked into the inn. But I don't know why that door is there. It's usually to tell you, like, to go here. Well, I go into the inn, and all it is just, you know... I go rest, and that's it. Otto's house is actually south of the open door there. So here, he's giving a huge clue here. So on even number floors, you have to hit the switches to stop the elevator for Pazuzu to go past. And I just kind of show this off here, just showing the mechanisms of this room here that build the, I don't know what they do, but it seems like they build the Rainbow Road when he goes up there. Anyway, we're going to go right to Pazuzu's tower, and I'm really not looking forward to this dungeon. Really not looking forward to this dungeon here at all. Without a doubt, this is the most infamous dungeon in the game, but before we can do anything, let's go save Nora, or Norma, or whatever her name is, from the clutches of this evil cliff, or whatever you want to call it, from this ledge. But now that we have the Rainbow Bridge back, she can go back to whatever, but we still have to go through Pazuzu's tower. You think she would be at the top of the tower, but that would make too much sense. I keep this fight in here. These are beholders. They have the auto reflect spell on, and they're weak to bombs. But I want to show you what this is like, so I cast Meteor on them. Kaylee, I don't know how she knew she doesn't get blinded there, but whatever. So they have the auto repel attack and repel with that shield. Poor Benjamin just gets the business handed them for 1600, and Kaylee just keeps getting blinded by these monsters that just are literally just eyeballs and tentacles. So they're not very fun, but if you don't want to use the bombs, I found that the Dragon Claw is actually fairly effective against these guys because it seemed like I was critting them about like every 3 attacks, and if I wasn't critting, then I was petrifying them, so it was just kind of a fun thing. Even though right here I'm using the Giant's Axe for some reason. I guess while I was recording this, I didn't realize what was the best weapon to use against them. I actually looked it up later, and it's like, oh, the Mega Grenade is what I wanted to use, but it is what it is. I kind of wish I used the Dragon's Claw here, but that's okay. I probably should not have put Kaylee on auto there. I don't know why I did. I really like the blind poor Kaylee, probably because they can notice that Benjamin's immune to the blind spell. Yeah, there you go. See, like no damage markers displayed there, which means that the beholder actually got petrified. So I'm glad I showed that off. The Dragon Claw is more useful than you might think. Anyway, this is Pazuzu's tower. Pazuzu, you think, oh, what's so wrong about this tower? The boss is right there. Well, it's a lie because he's on an elevator. He's waiting for us, and he just rides the elevator up. So Pazuzu's tower is by far the most infamous dungeon in this game, probably of any Final Fantasy game, with how it's laid out. Notice I'm on floor 1. After I'm done traversing these stairs here, notice what floor I'm on. I'll let you just pay attention. I'm not going to say much, because it's not going to take very long to get there. And like that, floor 1, remember, we're on floor 3 now. That's right. Ascending Pazuzu's tower takes you to the next odd-numbered floor in the game. So, and Pazuzu rides an elevator, so he can be on any floor from, like, I think 2 to 6. So that means if you're really unlucky and you fight Pazuzu on floor 2, that means to get to floor 2, you have to first ascend from floors 1 to 3 to 5 to 7, and then descend back from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2. It is the most ridiculous design I've ever seen for any kind of tower or game or anything. See, I'm on floor 5 now. I should be on floor 3, but that would make too much sense, because this is Pazuzu's tower. The monsters here are quite annoying as well. I don't know. Now I'm going to floor 7. I keep one of the fights in on floor 7 here just because it has a different battle screen where you actually, like, they programmed, like, that you're on the, like, floor 7 in the outer regions of the tower. So it actually looks kind of cool. Good attention to detail there. So you can't really tell from here, but this floor 7, this is the top of the tower. I fight these mages here, and these mages are not very fun monsters either. They're not weak or strong to any spells, and they cast all these annoying, you know, water attacks at everyone and all that. But I just want to keep it in here just because if you can see from the top, like, quarter of the battle screen, critical hit, and I petrified him. Awesome, huh? Anyway, I just wanted to show off the sky area of this battle screen just because of nice attention to detail. Oh, they are weak to wind. As you can see, these mages, every time you hit them, their next attack is they just cure themselves. So it almost seems like... just, like, attack... Like, you just waste an entire turn, basically. You attack them, and then they heal themselves, and then you attack them again, and then they... It's just so stupid. I hate this dungeon so much. Anyway, I think Pazuzu, on my recording, is on floor 5 here, so... I'm gonna go down to floor 5, but in this dungeon, there's actually... the best weapon in the game, the Excalibur, and the best spell in the game, which is the Flare spell. It's a wizard spell. So I'm looking forward to getting those. I will make sure I get those before I go fight Pazuzu. But as you can see, in floor 7 here, we have to go down to floor 6 next. So to do that, we have to go find the stairwell down there. I just have to kind of slog my way through all these annoying monsters. Anyway, now we're on floor 6. Pazuzu's not on floor 6, which is a shame. But there is a switch there, so we gotta go hit that with our axe. So we kind of have to work our way over there. I probably should have showed off something with those these monsters here, but I decided not to because you only see it for 1 frame when you kill them. For some reason, the Nagas, those like kind of like girl monsters, when you attack them and they change sprites, they, for 1 frame, change to like a red palette swap version of themselves, and then change into their weakened form. I'm not sure why they do that. It was something I noticed when I was looking at the sprite sheet of the game, and I never really noticed it until I looked at the sprite sheet. So anyway, we hit the switch. That means Pazuzu cannot go past level 5 anymore, so he's stuck on level 5, but he can still descend to floors 4, 3, and 2. And like that, we got the spell Flare in that chest. It is the best damage spell in the game and does fire damage. So there's that. So there's Pazuzu in floor 5. So if we're speedrunning the game, this isn't actually that bad. But in order to get to Pazuzu on floor 5, you have to go down to level 3 and then take a stairwell on the left side of the map from 3 up to 5 in order to get the Pazuzu. I did not understand this, and I actually got lost for about 25 minutes in the game. I'm not joking, by the way. I can put the raw footage up if you want to see it. I spent an hour in Pazuzu's tower. I spent 25 minutes traversing Pazuzu's tower, trying to figure out where he was. Eventually, I figured out, oh, to get to level 5, I had to go down to level 3, and then back up the stairs to skip floor 4 to get to level 5. Because this is Pazuzu's tower. This is the Excalibur. It is the best melee weapon in the game, easily. 202 damage. It has a base power of 125 and gives you plus 5 speed on equip. Sadly, it does not give you any bonuses compared to the Giant's Axe, so some monsters that are weak to axe type attacks, it would behoove you to use the Giant's Axe. But Pazuzu's not there. I have to go over here and hit the switch on floor 4, and then I'd have to descend on the stairs to my left, but I didn't know I had to go down those stairs. I got lost here and edited out most of the crap, and here I am at Pazuzu now, because, like I said, it's 25 minutes of me just running around. There's nothing exciting about that, so you're welcome. This is Pazuzu. Pazuzu has 25,000 HP. He's strong against Earth type of attacks, so Meteor is not very good on him, but he is weak to wind attacks. He's actually weak to wind and shoot. He's the only boss in the game that has 3 battle sprites when damaged. Because his 4th sprite is used when he uses his Psych Shield, which you'll see momentarily. It's when he has his wings like in front of his face. That's when he's using his Psych Shield, and it's actually his 4th battle sprite. So he's a unique boss like that. Anyway, Pazuzu, of all the bosses in the game, I would say he's probably the most interesting because of that Psych Shield, which basically puts Reflect on him. You actually have to pay attention to the fight and not just sit here and spam the A button over and over again. In my case, I'm spamming Flare and just melee attacks. So he's using Psych Shield here, as you can see. If I cast a spell, it will reflect back and kill me. That means there's strategy in this boss fight. So now I got to use the Excalibur here and use Kaylee. I just have her cure at the moment just because, you know, I needed some life. But while the Psych Shield is up, you want to attack. So with the Excalibur, it's 725 damage, which is pretty good. Then Kaylee here, I'll just have her attack. You see again, Kaylee, get your shit together. I swear, all she seems to do is miss with her axe. Now that the Psych Shield's down, we can actually cast our spells again. So I'm going to put back the Dragon Claw just so I have +5 to my magic. Or not, I guess I'm using Excalibur. If you remember, I was dealing about 2,000 damage with the Dragon Claw. Now I'm doing about 1986 damage, which is... I guess that +5 magic is not really that big of a difference, but I don't know. You may as well just... You know, if you have the Dragon Claw, why not if you can get +5 magic? Luckily there, I used a seed before he used the Psych Shield, which means I did not cast a spell and kill myself. So I'm going to get back to Excalibur here and just start whittling down at Pazuzu. Of all the File 4 monsters, I'd say he's probably the most fun just because he actually requires strategy, and I use that term loosely with his Psych Shield. As you can see, he's on his 3rd phase here. He only has 3 battle sprites and 1 for his Psych Shield. Not really much else to say here, except I don't really know why he has a crown on. From what I understand from like ancient, what do you call it, etymology or whatever, Pazuzu is like the king of the demons of the wind or something like that, so maybe that's why he has a crown. I don't know. It's a little strange. If you've ever seen the show Futurama, Professor Farnsworth actually has a pet gargoyle named Pazuzu, and I don't know, whenever I think of Pazuzu's tower, I just think of him going, Pazuzu! Oh, Pazuzu! But that's besides the point. Anyway, we got the Crystal of Wind. It's a happy day because we're done with Pazuzu's tower. I was probably in here after editing down most of the video for probably 10 minutes. But trust me, I was in here for about 50 minutes. It was not a fun time. It's actually the reason why I don't like playing this game is specifically because of Pazuzu's tower. I remember I put on Facebook one day about the worst level in any Final Fantasy game was Pazuzu's tower, and then my brother's friend, who happens to be named Benjamin, ends up saying, like, I think you made a typo there, Butt Sanchez, because what I'm seeing is one of the best levels in any Final Fantasy game ever made, and most well-designed. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Squaresoft makes a new Final Fantasy game called Final Fantasy Tower, where it's you just traversing 40 floors of a tower and that's it, with the same mechanics of Pazuzu's tower, where you go up to the next odd number floor, and then you have to go down, if you want to go to the like level 2, you have to go all the way up to the floor 40, and then back down to floor 39, 38, 37, all the way back down to 2, and the boss will be on floor 2. No, Benjamin, it is not. It sounds like one of the worst games I can think of next to Lord of the Rings for Super Nintendo. I would not play that, and I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. But that's besides the point. Anyway, Otto here, he says we can extend the power of the Rainbow Bridge, but we have to go get some Thunder Rock. In order to get the Thunder Rock, we have to go back to Fireburg, Ruben's hometown, and talk to his father. And once we talk to his father, we'll get whatever. For some reason, I decided to reset the game here to fix the status bug glitch with the party members. And I decided to do that with Ruben, of all things, but that's okay. I don't know why I keep like walking out of this thing here and then casting the exit spell. I just keep forgetting that I have it. Just kind of a stupid thing. And then I just, edit out the part where I'm like going through the Focus Tower and through Fireburg to get over to here. Anyway, do you have any Thunder Rock? Of course, wait a second. Here, take this. I like how he just has it in bed with him, his Thunder Rock, and he just gladly gives that back to you, but whatever. Here we are talking to Otto again. You found some Thunder Rock, huh? That's all he says. He just grabs it. Then go works on his rainbow bridge to make it even better, and then that's about it. Now I can go to Spencer's Tunnel, so yay, there we go. In Spencer's Tunnel, we can actually get the best, not the best, the last crest, which is the Mobius crest. How fun. Now we're at Spencer's place from the bottom, and we just immediately blow up the place with a Mega Grenade. I like how Benjamin probably could have done this in other spots. I think, what was it, Phoebe took a Mega Grenade and did this, but whatever. Anyway, the dry lake is no longer dry, and it actually looks quite nice now with all the water. I edited out the part over here where I got lost for a couple of seconds. I went left when I should have went right, but that's okay. I had to just go down these scales here to go over here, because I went the other way and I tried throwing a Mega Grenade, but you cannot blow up a door from the back, because I don't know why. Instead, you have to do this, and then walk your way back around over here, and then you can go through there. And all it is just to get the Mobius crest. You may think, do you need the Mobius crest? Well, yeah, you do. You need the crest because there's a teleporter in Windia that'll take you to the dock. I guess they're called the docks. In order to get to the ship, which is the next dungeon in the game. I will not be doing the ship in this video. I'm just going to show how to get there, and then that'll be the start of the next video. The ship is probably my favorite dungeon in the game, but it's also the shortest if you know what to do. It's kind of a shame, but it's whatever. Anyway, this is Spencer's place. One thing I want to show off is when we go back to Windia is how the place looks with the water. It looks quite pretty. I don't know how else to describe it. It just looks really nice. Not here, but like when you look at the water in the background, it just looks really nice. Go talk to Otto again, and he'll just say something nonsensical like, "Oh, thanks for restoring the lake." Yep, thank you. We need to go get the captain's hat in order to persuade Captain Mac, I guess, that we're on our way or something, or that Kaylee's on her way, because Captain Mac is Kaylee's dad, so it seems like he's the more important person in the game, if you ask me. He's the one that you hear about the entire game. So before I exit this area, I actually have to go north to one of the buildings here, but I just want to kind of show off how the place looks at the lake. Like I said, it looks quite nice, but when you jump over here and see the mountains in the background, it just looks really nice, even though I only saw it for a few seconds there. Anyway, go over down this basement over here. There's just like a portal here to take you right to the ship dock. And with that, we're at the end of the video, so stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.